Thank you, Sonny. I guess we better get started. We say we start at 7 o'clock, or we lie and say 6:59 just to look accurate, but we are ready to go. We have a really full program. I am so happy and proud of the participants who stepped forward and showed their leadership skills by being here and saying yes and being able to display and share those ideas of leadership. As I joked, I didn't know where I got such an idea for a theme of where leaders are made, and then it just kind of all put together. And we have some really outstanding people. I wonder whether we should have any announcements, though. I'm still waiting for one, I think. And Suzanne, do you want to make any announcements? I don't see Jose here. Is he already started vacation since you've been elected district director?
No, I told him he couldn't go anywhere till 2022, but I do want to continue to let you know that through June we are featuring trainings the first and second Tuesdays. Yesterday we had a wonderful one led by our, Club Growth Director Morris. We had great people on the call, new members finding out all about mentorship. And of course, next Tuesday, Tom is going to be host with some other important guests to let people know. I mean, tonight is a wonderful presentation, but to let them know a little bit about what Speakers Bureau is, how it serves Toastmasters in general, how you become a qualified speaker, a few nuts and bolts. The 1st of June, the first Tuesday, we have Angie Nett talking about excellence, and our own Esther will be leading new members through the dashboard experience, area directors, division directors, and new club members. So we're excited about the Tuesday training programs, and you'll be reading about the rest in our Tuesday with the Trio on the website and on our Facebook page. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, well, I certainly hope all those future leaders in the district are paying attention tonight, and we know they will be able to refer back to our YouTube channel and be able to check on all those leadership hints that were handed out tonight by our wonderful leaders. And you mentioned the 11th, there was a little bit of a hiccup in terms of what went on with Tuesday with the Trio. But anyway, that will be all about Speakers Bureau. And I didn't realize what a great auspicious group we have assembled for that particular meeting, because the three presenters, Angie Nett, my wife, and I, were all Toastmasters of the Year for District 12 at some point in the past. And the final speaker will be doing a little bit of I talk about how wonderful Speakers Bureau was for him, because he's our one and only Ed Edenhausen, the only accredited speaker District 12 has ever produced. So we will have quite a good program there. Hopefully, as I was kidding with someone I was talking to, I'm very competitive. So I want to have more people show up to mine than any of those other educational presentations, Roz. So we're going to help you try to get your people there, and I'll try to get mine. So we'll have a little fun competition. Okay, we have, I wanted to make a couple other announcements too. I see Jose is here. Did you have anything else to say? Or do you want to save it to the end? Or
I just want to say good afternoon, everybody. You are looking good. I had a little bit of trouble signing in, but I'm here. So welcome, and we are in for a treat.
Okay, well, we have, I said, a fun-packed team. I did want to congratulate a few of our participants, a few of our QSs of the district. Of course, Suzanne being elected district governor of District 12. Charlotte Noggle, a person who was a district governor of District 12, is now the district director for District 100. So she was elected to that. One of our speakers tonight was elected Club Growth Director for District 12. We had a number of competitors. I see Susanna Lee here, who came in third in international for District 12. We had Dominique, who is one of our QSs, came in second. Angie Nett came in first in the evaluation contest. And there are so many other of our participants who members of Speakers Bureau who did well and competed well. So we are certainly proud of that and encourage people to do that participation. And now let's get on with the show. When I decided to put together a set of leaders to talk about their leadership skills and experiences at various levels, it didn't occur to me, shamefully, that the most important person in every club, in every district, in every area, in every division is the member. Without the member, the rest of us have no reason to exist. And so when I put together a program that would include all those other outstanding leaders at area directors and district directors and so on, at the beginning, I decided let's start with that most important person. So let me read to you a little bit about Marjorie. She's not one to brag about herself, so let me do the bragging. And I even try to get her to say more nice things about herself because I know so many nice things that I have to add a couple to what she wrote for her introduction. Marjorie has been a Toastmaster since September of 1992. She is currently a club officer and has served her clubs as an officer for several years. She's also held leadership positions at area, division, district, and actually more than one district, if I'm not mistaken. Tonight, she'll be sharing her experience on being a member and serving the member with leadership skills. She was Toastmaster of the Year for the entire district, 2000, these are my words, not hers, 2011, 2012. And a number of years ago, we started a program called the Outstanding Member for clubs. And each club got to choose one outstanding member from their club for that each year. We kept track of all those manuals and kept all those names. And Marjorie has been chosen more times as the outstanding member of her club, many times, multiple clubs during a year. In fact, she has been the outstanding member of her club twice as many times as whoever is in second place. Our first speaker, the most important person in the room, speaking leadership from the member perspective, Marjorie Benesh.
Mr. Jameson, our Master of Ceremonies, attendees at Speakers Bureau, every one of you, is this a first time attending Speakers Bureau for anyone? Raise your hand or put oh, Jose, raise your hand, put a hand up, first time, page 2, anybody, first time? I see a couple of first times, hands up. Jennifer, I see, and
You can get them back to zero.
that's it. Has anyone been a Toastmaster less than 6 months? Is anyone new to Toastmasters? Been a Toastmaster less than 6 months or less than a year? A hand up. I don't see any hands up. What about never holding a club officer role? Has any of our attendees tonight not hold any club officer role? I do not see any hands up. It looks like, oh, Jennifer, I see Jennifer's hand up. New to Speakers Bureau and not holding a club officer. For the rest of us who have held club officer positions, perhaps you'll be able to take a tip or two back to your club. Even though this is May, this is club officer election month, and I know we need club officers. I am not going to recruit for club officers. I am here to cheer our members. And as a member, you may be a POT someday, a plain old Toastmaster, or you may be a PYT someday, a plain young Toastmaster, not holding any officer role, just a member. As a member, you are a leader. You are the most important leader in your club as a member. Something for us officers to remember to tell our new members. You have a story in you. You have a life experience to bring to your Toastmaster meeting. We need your stories. We need your life experience. whether you are a 20-something or a, like me, 60 plus something, you have a life experience and stories to bring to your club. Don't hold back. Don't keep them in. Let them go. As a member, also as a club officer, you want to be an example to your club, to your members. But even as a POT or a PYT, a plain old Toastmaster, a plain young Toastmaster, you can be an example to the other members of your club. As I said, you have life experiences to share, and you've been a leader. You may still be a leader, either personally, family, community, or career. You are and will be a leader. So share your life experience and set an example to the other members. Bring your story to your membership. I joined Toastmasters because I couldn't answer a simple table topic question. It was the first time at a Toastmaster meeting as a guest. The member who invited me was one of my customers from work. She had invited me and invited me and invited me several months, a year or so. Finally, one day, I wasn't doing anything early in the morning. We met at 6:30 in the morning before going to work. Yes, I'll join you at your club meeting. I was a guest. The Toastmaster explained how table topics work and asked me if I wanted to participate. My answer, let me listen to a couple examples first, and I'll see. A couple of table topic speakers spoke. Again, I was asked, well, Marjorie, would you like to participate? Yes, I think I can do this. They asked a question. I stood up and went, would, yes, enjoy, think, yeah, good, sat down. I think 15 seconds, maybe more, not more than 4 words, but a couple dozen ums. And the very next meeting, I went back and signed up. I spoke to strangers in my work all the time, and I didn't think I'd have a problem speaking to strangers. But in that official capacity, in that formal setting of an informal Toastmaster club, I couldn't answer a basic, simple table topic question. In fact, when I sat down, I couldn't even remember what the question was. But driving to work, I remembered what the question was. And then I said, I could have answered it. I knew something to say. You know what? It was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes later when it dawned on me, I could answer that. You know? So yes, I joined. A few years later, I won the table topic speech contest at the area level and at the division level. I gave myself a pat in the back because I remember when I couldn't get 15 words, then it took me a while to get to speak for 30 seconds, and it took me much longer to speak for 1 minute. So winning at the area and division table topics was quite an accomplishment for me, which I truly enjoyed. As we're saying, as Tom Jameson said, member is the most important person. And as a member, you are a leader to set an example for your club. Some of the ways to set an example: just attend a meeting regularly. Participate in all of the agenda roles. Be willing to fill in at the last minute for any agenda role. I said any. That means even being a speaker. Look ahead at your Pathways project. Always be preparing your next speech. In my humble opinion, go ahead and give your speech even if you don't feel fully polished. In my humble opinion, most speeches would fit more than one projects of the different pathways. So give it again after you've polished it and received the feedback from your evaluators and other members. So always be working on your next speech. Be willing to volunteer at the last minute to fulfill any role. Another tip to remind our new members, explore the Toastmaster International website. It has a plethora of interesting facts and fun ideas. Take the time to explore it. While you're exploring the Toastmaster website, explore pathways, explore the different tutorials. Look ahead at all of your different projects. Think ahead and plan ahead. And work through each project carefully in your pathways. Don't just skim through it and say, I got it. Ponder, give it some thought and reflection. Work through it. Another way to be a member, setting an example, especially a new member, encourage them to attend your club executive meetings. All clubs are having officers meetings, aren't they? If not, once a month, once every 6 weeks, or every other month. Invite your new members to your officer meeting so they can get a broader picture of what Toastmaster has to offer and what Toastmasters is. Encourage new members to ask questions. Encourage all members to join the meeting ahead. Open your Zoom meeting early. Encourage everyone to join in the Zoom ahead of time. Encourage them to ask questions, especially encourage new members to ask questions. If time allows during the meeting, you might want to set aside some time for questions and answers to get everyone involved. Attending the officers' meetings, exploring the website, exploring pathways, encouraging members to go beyond their comfort zone and participate next year when speech contest comes around. Even if it's as simple as table topics, encourage participation in the speech contest. Have members set the example by sharing what they've learned previously when they've been a contest participant. Another thing to remind new members and all members, share your success stories. If you've put your Toastmaster skills to work outside of your club, within your family, your community, at work, you have a success story. Take the time to share your Toastmaster success stories from beyond the club with your club members. Again, before the call to order, in the social time, or during the meeting time when there's Q&A. Share your success stories. As a member, you are the most important person. As a plain old Toastmaster or a plain young Toastmaster, set the example, be the example for your officers, for your fellow members, for your club, because a member is where it's at. And here, as a member, we are a leader because leaders are made here at Toastmasters. Mr. Master of Ceremony.
Thank you, Marjorie. Outstanding as I would have expected, exactly what I would have expected. Wonderful job. And I cannot function without very functional sidekicks. One of my sidekicks that without her, we would hardly function. Sonny reminded me that we didn't make an announcement about timers, and I did find a timer, but I never told Sonny. Marilyn, you want to explain the timing? I think you know the timing for each speaker. Marilyn Nepke, my always timer and always there.
You told me, and I guess my age is failing me, but I believe the speakers have 11 to 14. And so I will do.
No, speakers are 9 to 11, so
Sorry.
9, 10, and 11,
Okay.
except for
Okay.
Alfred. And he gets a little extra because he was the past international president. I figured
Right.
no matter what I said, he wouldn't stop talking anyway. So we are so privileged to
Okay.
have him here. But no, I'm sure he has many.
So he is 14 to 16 or,
So 9 to 11 for each
Yeah,
speaker up
right.
until Alfred.
okay, and then what is Alfred, 14 to 16?
14 to 16, yeah.
Right, okay, okay. So,
Okay,
yeah, okay,
are we ready to go on now? Let's go on to
sorry.
Melinda Muganzo. Melinda Muganzo is one of our District 12 qualified speakers, and if you've not heard her before, you're in for a ride of your life. She is one outstanding speaker, and it is not ever forgettable when she speaks. But let me read her introduction. Melinda is an educated professional with 25 years experience in business, human resources, education, executive coaching, training, and development. Her multifaceted leadership roles have resulted in creating new leaders, coaching employees to higher performance, and serving as a catalyst in invoking needed change in organizations. Her unique set of skill set centers around the ability not only to engage others, but also to cause a permanent transformation in her audiences. Melinda is out-of-the-box educator, human resources professional, plus inspirational and motivational speaker. From an educational perspective, Melinda has a Bachelor of Science in Office Administration and a master's degree in Business Administration. She has a postgraduate education and executive leadership certificate from Claremont Graduate University. Melinda is featured motivational speaker and did a TEDx Riverside talk. You can watch it on YouTube, titled "Give Me My Energy Back." I don't know if she ever would have lost her energy, but worth seeing, I am sure. While employed at Loma Linda, she was the recipient of the Good Samaritan Award, an award given to employees who demonstrated professional excellence in the workplace. Melinda is a professional speaker, distinguished Toastmaster, and has been the recipient of many awards and recognitions from several organizations, Swarthmore Who's Who, Executive Who's Who, and National Association of Distinguished Professionals. Her motto is, it's not what you got, it's what you do with what you got. Melinda Muganzo, representing club president from Grand Terrace Club, who is perennially a President's Distinguished Club. In fact, one of the first two officially designated as President's Distinguished in District 12 this year. Melinda.
Thank you so much, Tom. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening. Good evening, welcome.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to the Speakers Bureau. How do you become a President's Distinguished Club? Think about it for a minute. Wow, that's a big agenda for any club to shoot to be President's Distinguished. How does that happen when you think about it? The answer is, I'm glad you asked. The operative word is plan, P-L-A-N. It requires a plan. Yes. How exciting is that to be part of a President's Distinguished Club year after year after year? How does that happen? I mean, think about it. Envision for me and imagine with me. It's 6:30 in the morning on a Friday morning. And our meeting is at 7 a.m. sharp, Club 290 Grand Terrace Toastmasters. Yes, we meet from 7 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. every Friday morning. And we have remained that constant even throughout Zoom, even through COVID. We have met consistently every Friday, except for those dark holidays. Yes, you might ask yourself a question at 6:30 in the morning. What are you thinking? Oh my goodness, I need some coffee. I need 2 cups of coffee. I need 3 cups of coffee. Oh my goodness, for me, it's water. I need water to energize my brain. I need water to get my cognitive skills up because I'm about to enter that Zoom meeting where Club 290 rocks on a Friday morning at 7 o'clock. Now think about, how do you achieve that process? It requires a plan, and I'm going to spell plan for you. And you might want to take these words into consideration when you think about being President's Distinguished. How does that happen? Let me ask you a question. Are you passionate about your club? Are you passionate about your club meeting? Are you excited to walk into the room? Or are you just walking in, oh my gosh, it's another club meeting. Let me just show up. Let me just be here because I'm faithful and I'm consistent, blah, blah. No. To walk into that meeting and be ready to give it all you've got. Give it your synergy. Give what you want to bring to the table to help that club experience, the ambiance of that meeting be an exciting, embryonic process that everyone contributes to. There's a strategy, there is a plan. P, let me ask you a question. Are you proactive? The P says that you're proactive. You're proactive with a plan that's on purpose that results in progress. Let me say that again. Hey, I'm talking about being proactive with a plan that is progressive and that results in progress. How do you do that? It's a strategy. Think about it. Every member is contributing to the experience of the team, which is the club. Every member is proactive. Every member is on purpose for what's happening with the progress of that club. It is a team effort. You have to be proactive. Let's do it. L, what is the L in plan? Leverage. Leverage your learning. The learning in this case is pathways. And me being on the D12 PET team, I'm very passionate about how pathways as our educational tool from Toastmasters International helps each one of us leverage our level towards liberty. Woohoo! Because the goal is, if you pick a path that you are passionate about, that aligns with your life, that aligns with your profession, that aligns with your career, yes, there's no reason why you're not soaring and accomplishing a level in pathways throughout a said term, meaning 6 months. Proactive, leverage. What's the A? Activity. Woo-hoo! Is your club action-oriented with activities that create an ambiance that spells achievement? Yes, that's what it's about. It's about being action-oriented with activities to create the ambiance that results in achievement for the club. Everyone contributes to the bottom line of that club. And I'm going to give you the strategies specifically in just a minute, but I want to spell for you plan so you get it. I want you to remember plan. It takes a plan. And then the N is wow. We get to negotiate. We get to navigate. It's a natural experience that results in what? Newness for the club, a new level for the club. Now, I've taken the word plan, being proactive, taken the word leverage, being action-oriented, and be able to negotiate. Now, let me back up for just a minute. How do we do that? Well, you're proactive. Proactive says that you're strategic. We are very strategic in Club 290 and have been strategic for a long time. You have a term, 6 months, right from the gate. When you have your first officers meeting, the agenda is what? To be President's Distinguished. There is no other agenda. To become President's Distinguished, which means I am focused on what's going to happen with my club. Our goal is President's Distinguished. Our goal is to accomplish pathways educationals. There's 6 to get those done within the first 90 days. We start right off at the gate with getting our educationals done, right? Your Vice President of Education, which is the role that I have now. I was just finishing being, I just was president recently, but now I'm Vice President of Education. What? I have met with every member in the club, which we have almost 30 members in our club, to make sure that everyone has a set agenda to accomplish at least minimally 1 level within this next 6 months. You have to be proactive with each member. That's how you keep your membership engaged with you and getting your educationals done on pathways. Strategic in getting those educationals done within the first 90 days. Strategic in making sure that we're capturing all the district incentives. Whatever the district offices or District 12 is offering, we're going after it with a passion and with a vengeance to get it. Yes, why not? Let's celebrate. Yes, get those district incentives. Why not? Have 2 open house, be strategic, right? That's how you get your membership goals. So you get your pathways goals done, focus on your membership goals, do the administrative stuff as far as your meetings, and let's get those renewals. There is a plan of action. We're very strategic about that. This can happen in any club, at every level, in any district, in any club. Being strategic and having a plan to be proactive, to leverage the learning, make sure everybody's learning something, to be action-oriented with the activities, to keep your membership engaged, you keep your meetings fun, you keep your team energized. They'll want to get up at 6:30 to be on time for your 7 o'clock meeting. I dare you. Do your meetings different. Do them crazy. Do them out of the box. Have a brown bag meeting. Put all the offices there in the bag. Put your name in there. Turn that wheel up. Today you were Toastmaster. I don't know what to tell you. Work it out. Do things differently to make your meetings fun. That's how you keep your members engaged. So I'm telling you, when you're talking about having a plan and continually being President's Distinguished, because we're proactive, and that's the strategic mission, to be proactive right off the gate. Every member knows what they're going after. We schedule the schedule 6 weeks in advance so they know who's speaking. The meeting is not a happenstance experience. It is a strategic mission that is executed. It's strategic. We're serious about that. We don't come to the meeting and praying, oh, we don't have a time for today. No, no. As Vice President of Education, I confirm my participants on that agenda. Their name is not going on the agenda unless I know they're going to show up. We don't start our meetings with mediocrity. We start our meetings with excellence, and that's what it requires. As a team, when we think about District 12, you're talking about being President's Distinguished. Excellence. Excellence is the mandate and what we're talking about. I encourage you, when you think about what you bring to the table, you have a one-time shot to make a difference. You'll always have people visiting your club. And when you think about that, please understand the goal is to be the best and to give your best and to create synergy at your meeting. You can have a fun Zoom meeting, put some music on, wake up the dead before they get in. I want to encourage you, come on. Let's do this, District 12. Let's take our meetings to a new height. It's not a mediocrity experience, because what you learn in Toastmasters, that some people pay thousands of dollars to Dale Carnegie. No, for $55 every 6 months, there's no reason why you're not enriching your life to the next level. So I dare you, Toastmasters, be proactive. Think about the word leverage. How are you leveraging your learning? Make sure you're action oriented towards your ambiance. And the bottom line is, let's negotiate, let's navigate, let's be nice, and let's be natural. Club, District 12, club members, individual members, I dare you to be different. Be President's Distinguished. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, thank you. I didn't lie to you, did I? That was a wonderful experience, and you certainly represented what it takes to become a President's Distinguished Club on a regular basis. And that's someone with a spark plug and enthusiasm to bring that to the table. Our next speaker will be representing the position of area director. And a lot of people don't realize how difficult it would be to be recognized as area director of the year. Remember, as those of us who have been division directors of the year, there's only 4 or 5 people to compete with, but area directors, maybe 20, 25 people. You have to show your skills and help your area to do the best they can. Our next speaker was Area Governor of the Year. She's Anna Napoli. Anna worked in various not-for-profit religious, higher education, and healthcare organizations in roles relating to prosperous donor research and donor database management. Her experience working with the Razor's Edge database keeps her in front of a computer screen for hours, and she doesn't just like it, she loves it. Hoping to improve her public speaking skills, she joined her first Toastmasters Club, 7213, Master Motivators, a wonderful place to start, by the way. Wow, July 4, 2014. Not only has she improved her communication skills, but she has learned much more. Anna has been an active Toastmaster for over 6 years. She currently is a member and president of 2 Toastmaster clubs, Master Motivators and her home club, University of Laverne Toastmasters, which she sponsored and is a charter member. In addition, she had spent the last year in Toastmasters tour, attending club meetings in Germany, Egypt, Canada, and Italy. Anna has served as District 12 as the area director in 2015-16, area director of the year, club sponsor, club coach, pathways guide, sponsor, mentor, team member, and has served in almost every officer role. Anna Napoli, our next speaker, representing the area governor role.
Thank you very much, Tom. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Good evening. When my children moved out to go to college, I decided it was my time to go back to school and to get my bachelor degree. And I enrolled at the University of Laverne. I was excited. I was nervous. I was stressed out because I learned that on all those classes, I would have to present and do a speech in front of my classmates. I told myself, everything is going to be okay. I remember vividly my first presentation. I wrote word by word. I read it over and over and over again to the point that I memorized my speech. I was ready. I came towards the lectern with my speech. I placed my speech on the lectern just in case I needed it. And I started my speech. When I opened my mouth, nothing came out. And I said to myself, don't panic. Everything is going to be okay. So I started thinking hard, trying to find those words of my speech in my mind. Nothing. The members of my class, those eyes in my classroom were so powerful that they came to my mind and wiped all the words out. I still said, don't worry, everything is going to be okay. You have your speech on the lectern. So I grabbed it. I looked down and I read my speech word per word without looking up, not even once. You know, I was afraid that those powerful eyes would erase everything on my paper, and a blank piece of paper would not have been of help to me at all. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, can any of you did any of you experience this in your life? I can't remember the word. I did. And it was so embarrassing. So I did something about it. My husband, Joe, encouraged me to join, to attend a Master Motivator Toastmasters Club. And he said, don't worry, you don't have to, just go as a guest. You don't have to join. So I said, okay, if I don't have to join, why not? Everything is going to be okay anyway. But that first experience at Master Motivators was so important. I either joined Toastmaster or I didn't. The president, the officer, the members of that club welcomed me. They were very friendly. They were very supportive with one another. They helped me understand how the meeting was going to run. I felt that this was a good place for me to grow as a better communicator. This experience was so positive that I became a Toastmaster that July 2014. And I started my journey to be a better communicator. One club was not enough. I joined 4. I did research. I wanted to learn everything about Toastmasters. I gave speeches. I wanted to share with everyone what I had learned about Toastmasters. And I asked questions to more experienced Toastmasters than many of you are here watching me at this moment. I was hooked. Many of you may remember Dolores Weck, distinguished Toastmaster Dolores Weck. She said to me, Anna, you have caught the Toastmasters bug. And I am sorry to tell you, but there is no cure or vaccine. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I joined to improve my communication skills. However, 1 month later, the VP of Education resigned because of work, and I found myself raising my hand to volunteer for that position. That is when I started my Toastmaster leadership journey. Since then, I have served, as Tom mentioned, to most of the officers' positions multiple times. I have also served as a club coach, a pathway guide, and an area director. I will share with you my experience as an area director because that is the reason why distinguished Toastmaster Tom Jameson invited me here today. I was less than a year into Toastmasters, and distinguished Toastmaster Karen DeVries, then the division director, noticed my commitment to the Toastmasters program and believed that I could be successful as an area director. And she asked me to serve on her team. I said, no, I did not have the experience. I did not know what an area director role consisted of. She asked again and again. However, the third time, I thought, why not? Everything is going to be okay. And I said yes. I guess it was okay because that year, distinguished Toastmaster Esther Phahla, then district director, and her team awarded me the Area Director of the Year award. I believe that one of the reasons this award was given to me was because I sponsored and chartered the University of Laverne Toastmasters Club on September 2015. I have learned so much as an area director and as a leader, as an officer. I cannot tell you all the things that I have learned, but I will mention a few. I have learned that the turnover in a university club is greater than any other clubs. The students' schedules changes. So we end up with having new Toastmasters, and we realize that the club needs more support than those 6 months that a mentor is required to do. I was struggling with this problem, and I solicited help from our sponsor club. It happened to be Master Motivators to assist me. I am so thankful that some of those members took the time to join me and help when it was possible. I also learned to delegate. It is not my responsibility to do everything. As an area director, I visited my clubs multiple times. I felt that if I wanted to help a club, I needed to be there. I needed to experience their struggles. I needed to know the members and to give them support if they needed it. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I encourage each of you to challenge your limits. Go to that next step, say yes, volunteer to be a leader in your club, in your area, in your division, in your district, all the way up to Toastmasters International, if that's what you want to do. And I promise you that everything is going to be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it is not the end. Mr. Toastmaster.
I love that close. I love that close. Reminds me of a line I use oftentimes, and it said, if you've never failed, you've never done anything. Same kind of thing. Good job. Our next speaker has had one very, very busy month. Within the last month, she was awarded her qualified speaker for her Speakers Bureau, and she was elected as the Club Growth Director for District 12. Mentioned how great it is, how difficult it is to be Area Director of the Year. She was Area Director of the Year in 2017-18, Division Director of the Year in 2018-19, Club Growth Sponsor and Mentor Chair in 2021. Melissa served as a Division Director and in 2018 and 19, effective team leadership and skill development by experience. A Division Director will put your skills to the test and gain your insight from her strengths and opportunities, and learn how about being a Division Director can enhance your leadership and communication skills through motivating and supporting your team. I feel particularly proud of Melissa stepping forward and being elected, because I'm trying to remember whether she was an area governor or maybe not yet. I remember speaking to her after a meeting and saying, someday you're going to be a district leader, because I believe she had that skill. Maybe she remembers when that was. Melissa Stejskal, who I'm sure will be an outstanding leader in District 12, is our next speaker, representing the Division Director role and her leadership. Melissa?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and Inland Empire Speakers Bureau. Raise your hand if you remember the first Toastmasters leadership role that you took that you knew would challenge you and your skills to your limits. Maybe it was a few years ago, maybe it was several years ago, but we've all been in that position where we took on a new leadership opportunity, a new leadership role, and it was a challenge. The challenge for me was when I took on the Division Director role. I wasn't at the time new to leadership. I am leading a $2+ million retail store, and I support my district sales manager as the field training manager for 18 stores in our district. But when I was serving as the area director, it was quite different than being a division director. I knew there was a leap in leadership because a division director is growing your skills in communication, organization, but specifically team building. So that means that the impact of your actions and what you do and say in leading this team not only is developing your skills, but directly impacting the skills of the people that you're serving. It has a much bigger impact, a sort of multi-unit leadership. But I was excited to take it on, and I knew from day one that my goal as a division director was to become a distinguished division. That was my goal. And it was just distinguished. I wanted to give myself a realistic goal that I could achieve. And so I set myself to distinguished from day one. In my time as division director, I realized there are three main components that attributed to the success of our team in Division D becoming a President's Distinguished Division. The first is know your goal and roadmap. The second is know your area directors. The third, know the power of appreciation. Now first, knowing your goals and roadmap. Just with any sports teams, obviously they never go out into the field without some sort of game plan or structured goal that they want to achieve. They have preparation and they have a clear idea of how they're going to reach that goal of being the winning team. It's no different for a leadership role. So I set out the goals that I wanted to follow to achieve distinguished division. I created the roadmap that would get my team and I there so that we all had the tools that we needed to be successful in our roles. I created a timeline for us to have our council meetings. I created checkpoints and calls for us to communicate with each other on a regular basis. And I ensured that we had our important dates of trainings and meetings laid out from the first year to the end of the year so that the team knew exactly what they were doing from day 1 to day 365 as an area director. I gave my area directors the full confidence that they needed to fulfill their role and to fulfill their commitment. I wanted to empower them from day 1. Having a plan and a specific roadmap is the #1 starting point that you need as a division director or any leadership role for that matter. The second part of our success was knowing the area directors. This was me as a leader knowing my area directors. Now, in the development of your team, at the end of the day, the district director has the final word as to who the area directors are and elected. But as a division director, you can still get your hands in the pot. You can still get involved, and you should as much as possible, because when you have the opportunity to find those leaders to be your area directors, you're going to have a better idea of the people that you're going to be working with and the successful team that you're going to build. It's important to give yourself that opportunity. When I was division director, the area directors that came forward and that I reached out, some came forward, some I reached out. 3, I knew rather closely. 2, I didn't. So there was an opportunity for me to get to know these people with interviews if I didn't really know what they were going to bring to the table as an area director. And every single area director that I interviewed, I even interviewed the ones that I was close with, I'll admit, I ensured that they understood what our goal was to be distinguished division and that they understood the commitment they were taking on as an area director serving these clubs. In addition to knowing your area directors and having a strong team, you want to understand what skills they bring to the table. You want to have area directors that will provide core skills from their real world experiences that will serve the clubs and the members and fulfill the responsibilities. And you want an eclectic team so that you'll have some with strengths in different areas. Maybe some are more proficient with technology, some are more proficient with motivation, and together you can support each other in filling up the roles as area directors. And knowing your area directors also means knowing their why. Why did they want to become an area director? And I'm not talking about, I became an area director because I want to serve and give back. I became an area director because I want to become a DTM and gain credit towards getting my DTM Distinguished Toastmaster Award. These are superficial reasons why they want to be an area director. Sit down with them, have a one-on-one, buy them coffee or a virtual coffee, and ask questions to find out the real reason as to why they would like to take a year out of their life with no pay to serve as an area director for 4 to 5 clubs in their area. Once you understand the why, you understand the real passion behind why they're taking the role. And it's a critical point for you to know how to touch base with that area director during the year to ensure that they're on track and that they stay motivated. You always have that why to lean back to when they're going through challenges or encouraging them along the way. Because 365 days is a long time to serve a role in Toastmasters, even though we all know it goes by in a blink of an eye. Find the why for your area director. Knowing your area directors, having your goals and your roadmaps, these are the 2 critical points in being a successful division director. But the third point I feel weighs the most because it has the most impact on your team. And I'll say it again, the team that you lead as a division director is the reason you will be successful. If you can make your team successful, you will be successful in the end. The final component of being a successful division was knowing the power of appreciation. And I'll admit that appreciation is something that at most times will come naturally to me. But it wasn't until the end of my division directorship that I realized how much more opportunities there were. I'm going to share with you the reason why appreciation is so powerful when supporting your team and helping them fulfill their responsibilities to the best of their ability. When I started off my division directorship, I was extremely excited to be working with 5 amazing people that were also excited for their role. We were hyped up and ready to go. We all were committed to becoming distinguished division. The first thing I did to show appreciation for these people who made the commitment to be area directors was to buy every single one of them, 5 of them, a branded Toastmasters messenger bag. These are great bags that you can get on the Toastmasters website. And they're simple and yet effective way to show the appreciation for the team. And I created a binder for them to follow with our calendar of checkpoints and deadlines as well. I got them organized from the start. Now, Mike Robbins in a TEDx talk talked about a study in UC Berkeley that showed appreciation at work enhanced effectiveness and productivity by 43%. In addition, appreciation shown to another person and reciprocated releases serotonin, enhancing one's own feeling of happiness, feeling appreciated, feeling motivated. That moment of appreciation doesn't have to be big, it can be small. And I look at it like Parmesan cheese. When the waiter comes by and he's putting the cheese on your plate, you just stay and you don't say anything, and they just keep going until you say stop, I love Parmesan cheese. If you don't like Parmesan cheese that much, we probably can't be friends. But a sprinkle of appreciation throughout the entire year is an important way to motivate and uplift your team and keep them going and keep them focused. In the end, I had a list of results from my division directorship that I was proud of, skills that I built that I was able to apply to work. I also had a list of skills that I thought I could do better in. Because of my experience, I knew that I was going to do differently in these areas. So when you're taking on the division directorship role, you have an opportunity to build yourself, to look at the journey and find where you can improve. It's a never-ending growing experience. If you're looking on taking on the division directorship role, the easy part is building a team. The challenge is to be the leader that motivates your team so that they are successful, which enhances the success of your clubs, your members, and in the end, you will be a strong, proficient, and results-driven leader. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Melissa. You lived up to the billing. Thank you very much for that. We'll take a quick moment to recognize one of those most important people in our Toastmaster organization, and she doesn't expect me to mention her, but I want to mention one of our people who was here visiting and listening to us is Kay Mellon. She's held leadership roles in many areas in the past, but her greatest leadership role that she has displayed is at least, I think, 20 years of working with people at a halfway house, bringing them Toastmasters. So she deserves a round of applause right there. At least 20 years, probably more than that. Now let's go on to our next person. And it's with a great deal of embarrassment and chagrin that I announce a little bit about Esther Phahla, because when she came up with the idea and publicized that District 12 was going to be President's Distinguished, I have to admit, I said, oh, okay, another district governor coming in saying all these wonderful things you're going to accomplish. We will do our best to help her out, but let's get real. You know, that's not really going to happen. But she proved that it could be done. Esther Phahla has been a member of Toastmasters for over 10 years. She has served in several leadership positions, including the first District 12 Director and Pathways Ambassador. In 2016, she led her team of District 12 Toastmasters to President's Distinguished for the first time in 20 years. Following the theme of going for the gold, imagine the possibilities, she has founded several Toastmaster clubs and mentored many members in Toastmasters District 12. She's a business owner where she utilizes her skills as a certified public accountant and certified tax strategist, helping small business owners design an optimal tax strategy to help them to keep more of what they've earned, because it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We can all agree with that, I think. Working in a deadline-driven field was a key to understanding the district timeline and meeting each district deadline ahead of schedule by breaking down tasks into 12-week increments to avoid becoming overwhelmed. She has been awarded numerous awards in Toastmasters, including Area Governor of the Year, runner-up, Division Governor of the Year, the Lydia Boyd Excellence Team, Excellence in Marketing, Spirit Award, Milestone Award, the Penny Cole Achievement Award for her service both in Toastmasters and the community, and all her leadership service. She has completed the term as a President's Distinguished Area Governor, Director, Division Governor of the Year, and District Director. On top of all that, one of those people, you can have it all, right? She is a wife, a mother, and enjoys traveling with her family and quiet time on the couch with a book. I don't know how you squeeze in reading a book on top of all that. How did this introvert navigate this outstanding district director role? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please join me in welcoming past district director, distinguished Toastmaster, Esther Phahla.
Going for the gold, imagine the possibilities. The year was 2015-2016. Were you there? Let's travel back to 6 years ago. Has it been that long? The announcement came from Toastmasters International that the district leader titles were going to change from governor to director to reflect the responsibilities and create a parallel between district leadership and the corporate world. That meant I was set to be the first district director. We all know that nobody walks into a Toastmasters club saying, I want to become a district director. You heard all those speakers before you. Having been a member, area director, division director, I drank the Toastmasters Kool-Aid. And as I continued to sip it, it tasted better and better, because now it was no longer about me. That servant leadership when you step up to another role. First, what are the requirements of becoming this district director? Of course, you must have served 6 months, at least 6 months as a club president, and 12 months as a program quality director or club growth director or division director. I served them all. You would have thought that's enough, Esther. But I kept going. Now that you know the requirements, what does this role entail? And I want you to listen carefully. You are the district's chief executive officer. You are responsible for directly administering the day-to-day operations of the district. Finances, human resources. You are the only officer authorized to sign off on all contracts. Doesn't this sound like a business? I thought I was going to run a not-for-profit and just cruise. I'm a volunteer. Fortunately, you have a team, that's Toastmasters saying this, of district leaders to help you fulfill these responsibilities. What a relief that was, knowing that I am not alone. Our team was made up of 5 division directors, 26 area directors, 7 officers, club officers, including you, the member. You, Marjorie, whether you came in as a PYT or a POT, you were part of this team. Toastmasters go on to say you must empower those district leaders in their goals as well. They're not just there to serve, but as a district director, I have that responsibility. Then you ask, what's the purpose of the district if we have clubs? We all know that members do not join the district, they join the club. The purpose of the district is to enhance the quality and performance and extend the network of member clubs of Toastmasters International within the district boundaries. Our boundaries are Riverside County and San Bernardino County. We stretch all the way to Barstow, Victorville, and all the way right here in my hometown, Temecula. And how do you do that? You do that by focusing on the critical success factors. What are those critical success factors, you may ask? Number one, paid clubs. Our paid clubs include building new clubs and retaining the ones that we already have. Membership payments, as you, the member, renew your commitment to Toastmasters and continue to invest in yourself, bringing in new members to your clubs and distinguished clubs. That's your report card, belonging to a club that is successful. Melinda Muganzo articulated this very well. And all of this is summarized beautifully in our district mission. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And we do it within the Toastmasters core values, of course. We all know them: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. After you are elected, you're encouraged to come up with a theme and give a speech to set the tone for the district. Our theme was going for the gold. Imagine the possibilities. What was I thinking? I grew up in South Africa in the province called Gauteng, and that means the place of gold. During my district leadership, my daughter was involved in gymnastics. And all I heard was, you must train like you are in the Olympics. You must train like you're going to win that gold. And I saw them stretch themselves, tumble on those platforms, and I would be scared. But they were comfortable and confident. After I presented my speech, after I was installed, I had people digging for their gold to find this pin. It was hiding in the centerpieces. After they got their pins, we all drove home. An aha moment kicked in. I was now alone. I have set a hefty goal, like Tom said. President's Distinguished District 12. I announced it. It was out there. Was I scared? Of course. Did you know? No. It was all within me, and I took it home with me. Only my husband knew how scared I was because he was my sounding board. But I did it scared. We set those hefty goals. How do we do this? Number one, we focus on our human resources. That's the number one thing that they tell you as a district director. Our people, you, the member, you are at the top of the pyramid. Once we said that, with our members forming the clubs, then we knew that we needed to come up with a plan. Again, Melinda mentioned it. Toastmasters requires that every district have a district success plan. You will not even be recognized without it. And at the club level, we ask our clubs to have a club success plan. But throughout my area directorship and division directorship, nobody asked me to complete one for myself. Therefore, that became the number one requirement for my year. All division directors submitted it, all area directors. Without a plan, you plan to fail. Benjamin Franklin said it best. And that's leading by example. How are the area directors going to ask to see the club success plan when they don't have one themselves? You need to ask of others what you can fulfill yourself. Number two, incentives. We love incentives. Incentives are not meant to buy you, the member, or the clubs. It's giving back. When you give, you get. When you deposit, you know that you can withdraw something from that deposit box. Our clubs were putting together open houses. They were spending money on flyers. Therefore, as a district, that's us meeting them halfway to say, you've used up your petty cash. Here, we can buy you ribbons. You can win some timing lights, whatever it is that the district provided. Each quarter, every area director had specific goals. They had to fulfill quarterly goals. We knew that we wanted presidents distinguished, but each one of them was given quarterly goals. They didn't focus on too many things, a few items per quarter. What I did as a first order of business, I bought every division director the book, The 12-Week Year. I bought the program quality director and the club goal director. I wanted them to understand Oprah gives out her favorite things. So why shouldn't I give my favorite thing? This was one of my favorite things. I gave away this book to understand that this book has helped me. I achieved more in 12 weeks versus 12 months, waiting for a year to come by. And as I looked at the district leadership handbook, I had an aha moment again. This is an exact replica of the districts of the 12-week year. Toastmasters has already put this together for us. We just needed to execute. I wrote cards to all the club officers, encouraging them, especially the club presidents that were coming on board. I told them, I am with you. You are in the same position as I am at the district level. When you are enthusiastic, when you lead your members with grace and humility, they will come through for you. Boy, did those presidents deliver. I surrounded myself with people that made me look good. I had to delegate. I can't do this alone. The division directors were accountable. I wanted them to learn the dashboard. What you don't measure, you cannot achieve. I wanted them to know it in their sleep. Every month we met, we dissected the dashboard. What's going on here? What's going on here? And that's the same thing that my regional advisor did with me. And therefore, I had to do that with my team. Fourth, yes, we heard about recognition. I hear it's from Greg Scott, but several people have said it. Recognition equals motivation. The more you give, the more you get. The more you recognize this person, the more they ask what's next. I had good people on my side, the Tom Jamesons of this world. He followed up on distinguished clubs as we approached the end. Several people on this panel were on that team. Anna Napoli, Ross Carter, they were area director of the year and area director of the year runner-up respectively. Marjorie Benesh was my treasurer. I never had to worry about figuring out where the bills are paid. I just had to sign on the dotted line and just make sure that, okay, Marjorie, who's this check made to? Alfred Herzing was the first guest to come and mentor me about new club building. And that's how Anna got the idea of saying, oh, I think I have an idea at University of Laverne. Sandy Amalino was our new club extension chair. The last 2 years, Melissa was not on my team, but the last 2 years I worked with Melissa as a new club mentor chair. How to keep these clubs motivated, bringing in a new club into Toastmasters. How do you assign all of that? Angie Ned and David Carpenter, my right hand and left hand. I could not have done this without them. Sherelle Griffith was our sergeant at arms. I knew that the district property was safe, no worries about that. Heather Munoz and Sharon Kenty, they were good with their roles. They even continued those same roles the following year. It means I was not that bad after all. Since we knew that we were going to lose some clubs, we had to double up and build those new clubs. And one of the goals was 1 new club per area. That was for area directors, but for division directors, we had 1 new club per division per quarter. That means 20 clubs. June 30th came by. As I wrap up, Toastmasters had not recorded all of our goals. I finished the year, wrapped it up, and I thought, I will write a note, put it on Facebook, take it to the members and thank them. But we knew that we're President's Distinguished District. People were calling back and forth. When will we know, Esther? When will we know? Right there, I knew that I've achieved the goal. If members were so excited about this, it was not about me. It was about District 12. I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted our members on that stage. We woke up July 1st, like a habit, when you're a district director, you leave the dashboard. I woke up July 1st, I was already an immediate past. But I went on the dashboard and lo and behold, this is what I found. A President's Distinguished District 12. I ran around my home. I didn't know whether to cry or whether to dance. I called Angie, that's my right-hand girl. I just called her, hey, we are President's Distinguished. She was on her way to go and do her meeting as a district director. But I told her we have to meet. After she was done meeting with her team, new team, we celebrated with her and David. Fellow Toastmasters, quickly, how did this translate to me? Interviewing area directors, that's human resources skill. That's hiring, that's recruiting. As a business owner, I now serve on several boards. I now know parliamentary procedure because of Toastmasters. I don't let them speak, I just let them, you've heard your turn. You need to let it run. You teach people these things because of Toastmasters. Finance, budgeting, you learn that in Toastmasters. From new club building, you learn sales, marketing, advertising, negotiation. I am still going for the goal, being able to have a vision and achieve it. We had challenges, of course. It was a roller coaster of possibilities, but you reprimand in private and praise in public. Nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors. And that shaped my leadership to become a better business person today. Having achieved all of this, that was huge for District 12. As the first district director, when I saw our members walking on stage in Washington, DC, my heart was full. And that, I know that we did it. I didn't do it. We did it. And this is Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Esther. Boy, that is the key, that we did it. If we pull it all together, it's the way to inspire people to know that they're a part of that. That's very special. Many of you maybe have never even met a regional advisor. There is a step beyond being a district leader that goes on and serves other districts besides their own. The next person has been a district director for District 12. In fact, she has done many outstanding things. One of the things I particularly remember, she was a charter member, and she didn't even mention that in the introduction, so I'm gonna do that first. She was a charter member of a club that I actually helped start. And she was the first, about 12, 14 years ago, we started a program called the Outstanding Member, in which a person was chosen by their club as their outstanding member. She was in that very first class of outstanding members and was recognized at the district conference. And from there on, she was hooked. She went on to do wonderful things. She ended up being area governor of the year, 2000, 2009, 2010. Rosalyn Carter, better known as Roz, joined Toastmasters in 2005 while employed as an executive assistant to the city manager of Moreno Valley, where she retired in 2009. Roz earned her Bachelor of Science degree in business management from the University of Phoenix. She has served all Toastmaster clubs in district leadership positions, including District 12 governor in 2012 and 13, and 2 years as regional advisor from 2017 to 2019. She has completed her Distinguished Toastmaster, twice, and received Humanitarian Year Award from Moreno Valley Black Chamber of Commerce, and earned Qualified Speaker in the District 12 Speakers Bureau. Her next goal is to be a TEDx speaker. And she, as I said, was Area Director of the Year, 2009, 2010. A recent regional advisor, Roz Carter.
Thank you, Tom Jameson. Now, we all start as members, right? We get it. And then there's other leadership level positions that we've heard about tonight. Now, who can follow in the footsteps of someone like Esther Phahla, a President's Distinguished District Governor, Director? Does it stop there? The door is there. I'm shaking it. It's a little stuck. But when I finally opened it, I realized there was a whole new world of more exciting Toastmasters journey waiting for me. Who was drinking the Toastmaster Kool-Aid? I drank a gallon of it. And tonight it tastes like a margarita. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone, and welcome. A region advisor's role goes a little bit further than the district level. You have to have served as a district director for 12 months, an immediate past district director for 12 months, and then 12 months in either program quality director or club growth director. Why? Because the region advisor is a coach, a mentor, an advisor, and a trainer for the top 3 district leaders, as well as public relations manager. All encompassing, they create a picture, a big picture beyond what we can imagine. Area directors serve 5 or 6 clubs. Region advisors serve 5 or more districts. Imagine multiplying membership, clubs, and districts by what you just see so far. And it's okay if you want to stop at the district level. But region advisors inaugurated in 2010 by the International Board of Directors. Joyce Persicelli was my first region advisor when I was Lieutenant Governor of Marketing, now Club Growth Director. She served for 2 years. It says here that you have to apply every year by September 1 and serve 1 year. And there's a few people who are blessed enough to serve for 2 years, and that was me. I served during the time when Region 10 was Southern California, Arizona, and all of Mexico. So there was lots of travel, and it was wonderful. Then in the second year, when I was appointed region advisor, the regions shifted a little bit. I'm going to ask Sunny Gale to share her screen and show you the map of the regions. There's 14 regions in Toastmasters International. And if she zooms in, as you could see, it's an international organization, but if she zooms in to Southern California, you'll see the number 12 where our district is. And it's the dark blue piece at the bottom. The green of Mexico and Arizona went to Region 3. So it was a big territory. Part of Region 1 came into Region 2. And that's when we added Hawaii. But let's focus on District 12 for tonight. Because in spite of this large picture, thank you, Sunny, in spite of this large picture, it's an overwhelming sight, isn't it? Multiple time zones, multiple languages, multiple cultural differences, multiple conflicts among people who are elected our district leaders. There's a term for that, and it's called critical thinking, constructive management, conflict resolution. A region advisor is appointed by the international president. So therefore we get a badge, a blue one, as an appointed international officer. And we take over. Boy, do we take over. As a matter of fact, when I was region advisor, more than half of us had graduated from the same year, 2012-13, as district directors. That's why we have a shirt. And on the back of my shirt, we have our district number and our last name. So I'm Carter 12. And what that means is when we all come together, okay, yes, there's additional phone calls, additional conference calls, additional emails. You never shut your phone and computer off because you don't want to miss anything. If you think that's overwhelming, maybe Region Advisor might not be for you, but I could think of 20 or 12 past district governors and directors in District 12 that are eligible to be Region Advisors. I'm sitting alone as the only RA from District 12. I want some company. I want to see you rise and shine and follow what is in you already because you have served as a district leader. You can understand the dynamics of districts. You understand finance. You understand the district mission. You understand working with dynamics of people. But what you don't know until you step into this role is how much time it might take. So you might look at the 12-week system that Esther talked about and slice it and dice it so that you still have yourself, your family, there, because there is a life outside of Toastmasters. I don't think that anyone here feels that Toastmasters is all we do. But if we do it well, it means we've learned how to leverage our leadership and our experience. In order to help other district leaders, we have to have served in those positions. We have to know when it's critical for the club growth director to see if they're sinking or if they need some additional help. So in addition to monthly conference calls with your peers, so you could chat with other club growth directors and see what's going on in their neck of the woods, you might pick up a tip or two of how to solve some of the problems and challenges you're having so that everybody can be successful at the end of their year. You know the district mission. We build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. Building new clubs is on the shoulders of club growth director. And I always wondered why it's the first person, the new kid on the block in the 3-tiered leadership. However, that's where you learn the most. And that's when you can have the most fun. As a matter of fact, I had so much fun. Michael Ogier was coming up behind me as club growth director, and I didn't want to let go. I was having too much fun chartering new clubs. But it's like, okay, Arlene said, okay, you got to let go. And he did an awesome job in creating a distinguished district. Now, you apply for these positions, as I said earlier. So you apply by September 30th. You have your applications reviewed in October by the board of directors. And then in November, you have an interview. By, February, they will make an announcement of approval of who made it and who did not. I didn't make it the first time I applied for Region Advisor, but I applied again and made it. If you want to coach, if you want to train, advise, mentor people with dynamic backgrounds all over Southern California in Region 2, this is the best position for you. Like I said, serve as a member of the top 3 first, including immediate past, because all of that training, all of that information you absorb into your whole being of wanting to help others succeed will come shining through as a region advisor. We develop plans. We help them create marketing plans and district success plans. We help them reach their capacity for growth and beyond. because they all have the potential to grow. But most importantly, we build trusting relationships with people outside of our club and our district. Those relationships grow. And then when you have that 360-degree evaluation or assessment by every life you've touched in district leadership, you will know that Toastmasters truly is where leaders are made. Tom Jameson.
Thank you, Roz. You certainly lived up to this example of being a great speaker and a district leader. I want to thank you for that. I mentioned that many of us have never even met a regional advisor, and so now we get a chance to meet you. Probably most of us have met an international director or a former international director, and right now in the room we have a sitting international director, but probably 4 or 5 other international directors are on the room. And so maybe, but you've not met anybody exactly like Roberta Perry. Roberta Perry is, I have to say, I have known her for quite a number of years now. I have never been anything but really impressed at whatever it is she was doing, whether it was mentoring future international directors or just advising or speaking at Past District Governors Club. Our speaker tonight joined Toastmasters at the request of her boss in February of 1984. And she says, if you're doing the math, she joined when she was 2 years old. She has served this organization in building new clubs from Seattle to Florida, from Los Angeles to Australia. In addition, Roberta served as a D1 director, District 1 director. She is a recipient of the International President's Citation for Service. Roberta won District 1 International Speech Contest, District 52 Evaluation Contest. She served as a Toastmaster International Board of Directors from 2010 and to 2012. She has completed 2 paths, Presentation Mastery and Leadership Development. Currently, President and co-founders of District 100's Renaissance Speakers Club, a President's Distinguished Club since its charter, September 1991. There's an example for us to live by. Roberta is an owner of Roberta Perry and Associates, a business development catalyst working with creative media technology companies in the globally themed entertainment marketplace. Recently, the Themed Entertainment Association awarded her the honor of Master of their Craft. Please welcome, with her presentation, Say Yes with a Footnote, Roberta Perry, past International Director and DTM. Roberta?
Wow. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to all the speakers that came before. You brought back so many memories of what you have been doing and working with you, Esther, everyone, over the last many years. Tom is right in my introduction. I joined 6 months after Toastmasters allowed women into the organization. I was a secretary to the entertainment director. I had started on February 12th, 1974 as a secretary. Stuart Anderson called me into his office and he said, Roberta, you're going to fail. You're a woman. Women do not succeed in the restaurant business. You will fail. However, Roberta, go down the street and join a Toastmasters club and just say yes to everything they ask you to do. I walked into that club, 27 men and me. I was like, yeah, okay, I found my home. I'm good. I'm not losing. And they took me on a journey that I will never forget. And I did just say yes to everything they asked me to do, whether it was table topics or doing a last minute speech, impromptu, being a sergeant at arms. I didn't even have a clue what that meant, but I said yes and started on that journey. I then within District 2, which is in Seattle, where the club was, Seattle General, I kept saying yes. I started a couple of clubs up there, and then a friend of mine said, Roberta, why don't you be an area director? Oh, no, not me. I don't have a clue what that is. I'm a good secretary. I can do that. I'm not going to be an area director or area governor at the time. But I said yes. Following Stuart was kind of ringing in my ear. And I had a great time. And I learned a huge lesson. I couldn't do it all myself. In my very first area contest, I did it all myself. I'd never learned the idea of delegating, but I learned that. And I was able to take that skill then over into my work. And eventually at Stuart Anderson, I worked up from being a secretary to an entertainment assistant to the entertainment director. But that did not come easy. When my boss, Bob Anderson, decided to leave the organization, and I was the assistant entertainment director at the time, I was managing 20 restaurant nightclubs. He was managing all 60 of them. I went to Stuart and said, I want to be considered for the entertainment director. And he goes, no, you're a woman. Women don't run nightclubs. No. But I convinced him that I should come before the board of directors. Now, I'm a good Toastmaster. And back then, we had our basic communications manual. It was called The Power of Persuasion. I went in, I put together a speech based on Monroe's motivated sequence. I took it to the board, and the board said, let's give Roberta, let's pretend that Bob is on holiday for 2 months. And we'll let Roberta be the entertainment director. If she succeeds, Stuart, then you will have to throw her a party in Colorado Springs, Colorado, when we open the restaurant there, and install her as entertainment director. 2 months later, he threw me a huge party in Colorado Springs. I loved it. Stuart was quite the mentor. I left that organization when I was running 100 nightclubs. I loved it, except I was on the road Tuesday through Sunday, back in my office to do all my work and then back on the road. At that point in my life, I thought, that's it, I'm done. So I stopped doing that, but I never stopped in Toastmasters. I just kept saying, yes, okay, I'll be an area director. Okay, I'll run and be the marketing director. And that time it was called the marketing director. It was really club growth director. So I ran and I lost, but I didn't get to run because I went in front of that board, and we had a past international president on that board that said, no, Roberta, you cannot be that. Women don't go into the top 3. It's like, yeah, really? Okay. So I just went, all right. So I joined his committee the following year. And guess what? By the end of that year, he put my name up to be, at that time then, the marketing director, the club growth director. And then I went on to be elected as the program quality director, is what it's called now. But midway through my year, my company transferred me to San Francisco. And they only transferred 5 people, so I couldn't say no. Thank goodness I had an incredible teammate in Dennis Ham, who moved up to program quality director, and I came to San Francisco. And I continued to work in Toastmasters, and then I moved to Los Angeles. I joined District 1. And when I arrived down there, District 1 said, why don't you run for the top 3? And I went, no, I have to know this in district. I have to learn how to be a team member. So I started working in committees, and then I started running committees. And then eventually I ran for an area directorship and got that, or I was appointed as an area, and then on to division. And then at that point I went, okay, I'm ready now to step into the marketing position, into the club growth position. But there was a shakeup in the district. So instead of getting to do that, I was then running for what's called program quality director, and another person who, Joe Jarzenbeck, that many of you know, became a past international director. Joe was started building clubs. I was number 2. Bob Dunning was number 1. And when I finished being district director, district governor, we were distinguished. And that was it. I was done. I was just done. I don't want to do anymore. I'm it. I'm going to be and I love how Marjorie, I'm just going to be a regular old Toastmaster. But then I got involved because of Toastmasters. I kept saying yes in my career. I started the Nightclub Bar Association with 3 other people. Some of you know John Taffer, who is Bar Rescue. John was a teammate of mine. We started that. We started a trade show with 600 of our friends, and now it's 35,000 people show up in Vegas as at that nightclub bar. Then I went on to be the president of a brand new association called the Themed Entertainment Association. And in case you're wondering, what is that? My mother never understood what I did, but just in case you're wondering too, that is brick and mortar, everything we as guests spend our money on outside of the home. Theme parks, museums, traveling shows, aquariums, attractions, anything. That's what's included in themed entertainment. And we started an association 25 plus years ago, and I became their 3rd president. Why? Because I was so well trained in Toastmasters. You all trained me, and all the members throughout the Western United States trained me to be able to take on that kind of a position, because it was a global position. Then after that, I kept saying no to doing anything else in Toastmasters other than being on a committee, working. I loved it, working in my club. And then one day, the International Board of Directors announced that they were going to change the regions. And it wasn't going to be all the regions in the United States. We were now going to have regions outside the United States. At that time, there was only one region that incorporated the world plus the United States. And I looked at that and went, well, I have run the Nightclub and Bar Association. I have run the Themed Entertainment Association. I've sat on multiple nonprofit associations. I understand strategic planning. I understand finance and budgeting. I'm ready for that. What is it that a board member does? Well, a board member for our organization is responsible for 5 things. 1, to uphold the mission of Toastmasters and serve as the ambassador to the districts. Number 2, to develop organization strategies, policies, ensuring that they're implemented. Number 3, to approve and oversee the budget and finance of the organization. Number 4, to incorporate member needs into organizational decisions. And number 5, handle significant member disciplinary matters globally. We did all of that, and I was prepared for that. What I was not prepared for was the 5th one. I spent 2010 on the board of directors. 80% of my time was spent on disciplinary matters. It was not spent on any of the other 4, only on the 5th one. So we had to cram everything we wanted to do for this organization into 10% of our time and then into the next year, which I know Michael understands it, Alfred, everyone that served. It is an incredible, incredible experience, because we always learn what we don't expect to learn when we serve and when we just say yes to any communication opportunity, to any leadership opportunity. It is, I know Greg is a past international, just say yes. I was district director or district governor in 1988, 1989. I didn't even say yes to running to the board until 2010. It's never too late to learn skills inside our organization and take them outside, and learn skills outside and bring them inside. It's an honor and a privilege to serve on the International Board of Directors. I leave you with the incredible wise words of my mentor. First, she was the past international president of Toastmasters, the first woman of Toastmasters. When Helen Blanchard told all of us, if you get out of Toastmasters, everything you can get out of Toastmasters, you'll never get out of Toastmasters. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you for that, Roberta. You lived up to the expectation too. Now, our next speaker, I tried to have a little fun at his expense earlier on by saying he we had to figure out a way
Tom, are
to
you
keep
there?
from speaking too long, but Alfred does not have that reputation, having been in a club with him for a number of years now. He does stay within his parameters. In fact, he was offering to speak a little less and give a little shorter introduction, but there is so many wonderful things to be said about Alfred. But let me read for you so you know how special it is to have Alfred here to speak to our group. Our next speaker started his Toastmasters career in downtown Los Angeles when he joined a company club at Union Oil. Through the benefits of Toastmasters, he gained 5 promotions professionally. In 1990-91, he served as District 52 as their district governor. He and his team led District 52, which had not been distinguished for the previous 3 years, to distinguished status. But he is more proud of the fact that this was the first year in 4 years in a row that the district was distinguished, showing the example of carryover leadership. By the time he decided to run for the board of directors, he was now a member of Founders District, and that is where he ran from. After serving 2 years on the board of directors as the international director, he was elected to executive office, 2001 International Convention in Anaheim, California. He was elected as president of Toastmasters International. He continues to serve our organization and as an active member of 4 clubs, an officer in 3 of those clubs, and is currently mentoring 14 top 3 district leaders around the world. Certainly, I know he is a friend of District 12 as he has been here to help train in various aspects. Please help me by welcoming distinguished Toastmaster, past international president, Alfred Herzing.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, Madam International Director, fellow Toastmasters and friends, good evening. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Tonight, I want to quickly go through my story. I don't have quite the resume that Roberta has. Boy, that was amazing. I will share with you some views on leadership, and then I wish to open the floor for questions, because maybe you have questions, and how often do you get a chance to have a past international president answer your questions? So I will give you that opportunity. I first joined Toastmasters, as my introduction mentioned, by joining a corporate club. And this is the benefit of having so many clubs around the world, because I joined when I was in my 20s. So you can see all the gray hair there. So clearly I was a young man when I joined in my 20s. I was just starting my professional career. I was not looking for extracurricular activities, but the club was at my business, at my company. It met during lunchtime. I had lunch. So when a colleague invited me, I went. And had I not been invited to that club that Beverly Andrews had chartered, I don't know if I ever would have joined Toastmasters, and my life would have been so much less valued than because of the Toastmasters experience I've had. I was immediately impressed by the Toastmasters organization, and especially the leadership aspect. And I don't mean just the club officers, but even being the Toastmaster of the meeting and running a meeting. I was very impressed immediately with the leadership aspect of Toastmasters. And very soon I was recruited to be a club officer. And I remember at one point I was the VP membership, and we had a new member that was very upset and talked to our president about the fact that we had the audacity to schedule her in advance for duties at the next meeting. She wanted the club to wait for her to show up, and then she would tell us what duties she would do. Well, I've always had a strong value of our program. And so I told the president, I said, maybe you don't want me to talk to her because what I told her was that membership in this organization is a privilege and you only learn by participating. And so it is part of our duties that we will get rotated amongst the duties, and the VP education cannot wait for your Royal Highness to anoint her that you can now have this role for the next meeting. From the club, I went on to serve as an area governor, was the title back then, was very successful in that. When back in those days, the district just focused on speech contests. So when I had my area council meetings, we met to plan speech contests, and we had an amazing speech contest. We had 2 back then. In the fall speech contest, we had 60 people in attendance. We made $400 in profit because I had an opportunity drawing contest amongst my clubs. By every measure of success, by every measure, the meeting was a success. And then we as an area council didn't meet till it was time to plan the spring contest. And at the end of the year, the district was not distinguished. And a light bulb came on to me. I went, wait a minute, we spent so much time and energy as a district on something that's not even a critical success factor. And I was very, very lucky that that year that I was an area director. And by the way, becoming an area director, it opened up a whole new world of Toastmasters to me. I finally realized there was something beyond my club. I realized that we were really part of an international organization. And we were lucky enough to have a presidential visit. And it was John Phahla from New Zealand that came to visit us. And he was just so inspiring. And I was just in awe of him. And I thought, boy, if that is the product of our leadership development program, I want to pursue leadership in Toastmasters. And so I moved into the top 3. I went through the chairs there, as was mentioned in my introduction. When I became district governor, our district had not been distinguished the past 3 years. Nobody on my team knew what it was like to be a member of a distinguished district. And I wanted to set a goal for presidents distinguished. And my team was like, what have you been smoking, Alfred? We haven't even been distinguished and you're going for presidents? And I said, well, you know, you can't lead if you don't have anybody on your team following you, right? When I train presidents, I tell them, yeah, sure, try being a dictator. Soon you'll find you're a president of a club with nobody in it. Big deal. So I agreed that we would set a goal for select distinguished. I would not aim just for distinguished. To me, that was too dangerous. And I said, if this team with our talent can't make this, then there's no way that we will have been successful. And at the end of March, we were 3rd from the bottom in the world. And already everybody was talking about next year. Well, you know, we're leaving the district better than we'd found it. I'd heard that stupid story the last 3 years. And I'm like, no. And I reiterated, if this team with our talent can't make it, then we cannot say we were successful. Nothing less would be acceptable. We redoubled our efforts, and not only did we finish distinguished, we were number 2 in the region. And as was mentioned in my introduction, that was the first of 4 years in a row that the district was distinguished. And that was very exciting for me. And at that point, I went into semi-retirement. My spouse at the time did not appreciate all the time I was spending on Toastmasters away. The next step would be international director, but it was not even on the table. But I had 2 mentors that worked on me and that worked on her for many years, Lydia Boyd and Frank Poyet. And between the 2 of them, they created that opportunity. And eventually I was given the green light. I did run for the International Board of Directors as an international director. I'm very proud of the fact that I was the first international director candidate since Don Inch that was unopposed from our region. Many of you might know Don, but you younger folks won't recognize. He was the voice of Toastmasters for many years and announced the parade of flags and the introductions to the members. But I decided to run. However, in Region 2 history, you know, this is the thing when you get us old timers here, you learn some history lessons. We had a series of people that were not nominated win by running from the floor. And so I'm a closet comic. And so my joke during my campaign was, even though I'm the only nominated candidate, because I am nominated, I'm the underdog in this race. And so I was elected and I had the honor of serving, and serving was such an honor to be a member of this international organization, the International Board. And at the end of that term, we were going to have one of my classmates was going to run for what was then 3rd vice president, which was the executive progression to international president. His name was John Howard from Utah. just a great, great guy. He was just an amazing, and all of us in our class of international directors, we 100% supported him. We knew would be fantastic, and we didn't know who else was going to announce, but for us, he was our choice. Sadly, John passed away in August, just a couple weeks prior to the international convention. And it just really took the wind out of our sails. Our class again had a real issue, even with that board meeting, missing our good close friend. So at the international convention, three people announced they were running for third vice president. And at the president's dinner dance, I had four, that's where the four gesture comes in, four past international presidents separately come to me and say, Alfred, we need you to run. I know 3 people have already announced, but we need you to run. Boy, when you have 4 past international presidents come to you and ask you to do something, it gets your attention. But I had to think about it. I had to go home. I had to talk to my family, make sure they understood what they were signing up for. It's a 5-year commitment. And especially the year as president, when you're doing those presidential visits, it is intense. So I also had to get my work to buy in that they would also agree to this. So we got that, we had the discussions, and it was near the end of September. I announced, and I called Terry McCann, who was the executive director at the time, and I let him know. And he said, Alfred, come on, you decided months ago you were running. I go, no, I literally just decided. By then, one of the other candidates had pulled out. So there were 3 of us. And I say we weren't running against each other. We were just running for the same position. And that convention was held right there in District 12 in Palm Desert. And Roberta was a key member of my team. I will never be able to thank her enough for how amazing she was supporting me. And so many of you too were also on my team. And I'm very proud of the fact that we won on the first ballot in a 3-way race. So that was really one of the most amazing moments in my life. And then I went through the chairs, and then of course I was lucky to become international president. Ladies and gentlemen, I was international president when 9/11 happened. And my theme was take control of your destiny. And so we got on empty planes just a few weeks after that terrible event to start our district visits, because I said, we're not letting the terrorists win. We're going, the districts are expecting us. And they were so grateful that we did. And in fact, our first visit was to New York, not New York City, but upstate New York. And it was just a great, great time with all those people. I also had one overseas trip, which my son at the time, he was about 14. He was a little concerned about it because it was a Muslim country. And we had our presidential visit to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And again, the local folks just really helped us so much. It was just fantastic. My theme was take control of your destiny. And folks there, you know, something terrible has happened, but what are you going to do about it? You know, we could say the same thing right now about COVID. You know, COVID is impacting all of us. Are you going to use that as an excuse, or is it going to be your inspiration? And I ended up giving a presidential citation to Robert Shore, who is the area director or governor from Ground Zero in New York City, because he found new meeting locations for all of his clubs, and the area finished as the distinguished area that year. And my view on leadership is we have to be servant leaders, and we're in a position of power. We're there to serve us. Club officers, you're there to serve the members, to help them achieve their goals. Area directors, you're there to help to serve your club officers, to help them serve their members, and on through. So the time I became international president, I was at the bottom of the organization. I was serving all of the members worldwide. And I think it's also important that we as leaders that have that position, we need to make sure that we're doing it for good. And the reason I got so excited about Toastmasters is because I learned how to motivate and influence volunteers. And I found that directly translated to the workplace. If you ever went to one of your employees and said, just do it because I'm the boss, your relationship is over. And so the motivation and influence skills I learned as a Toastmasters leader directly helped me in my career. And I know in at least 2 of the positions I earned after becoming a Toastmaster, the leadership skills I learned as a Toastmaster were directly involved in me getting those positions. So fellow Toastmasters, that's my story. That's what I believe. Be a servant leader, serve others, use your position for good. If somebody has a problem, we all have seen managers in our life and leaders in our life that when a problem comes up, they choose to ignore it. Oh, we'll just ignore it and hope it goes away. It doesn't work that way. And I'm not that way in business, and I'm not that way in leadership. Those of you that know me, I'm pretty vocal when I see something that I don't agree with. And that's just, I feel, what the role of a leader is. When you have great leaders like Esther and Roberta and Roz, all these people that have been there and done that, some people will say, oh, well, we're not in position now, so we just need to let them learn the lessons. I went off that cliff, and I know that cliff's there, but let them find it themselves. And my position is no. We need to let them know that cliff is there, but if they choose to go over it, that's fine. It's their decision, but at least I pointed it out to them. And with that, I open the floor if anybody has any questions. And Tom, if you could help me, because I'm watching Marilyn to make sure I don't go long. In fact, it is 9 o'clock, so maybe we better not do
We
that.
want to hear from you.
All right.
Questions?
All right. And no questions?
Ralph, I see Ralph.
Ralph.
Yeah, Alfred, what do you see as the #1 challenge for Toastmasters International right now?
For me, the 2 biggest challenge I see long-term for the organization is #1, pathways. Only 50% of new members are even signing up for the program. And with the old programs, you got your manuals, your VPE scheduled you were off and running. But if we don't get new members engaged, there's no way they're going to retain. The second is online meetings. In my opinion, where people are not growing in these online meetings like we do in person. And so I think long-term, I've already had members in some of my clubs say, until you meet in person, I'm out. When you meet again in person, I'll be happy to rejoin. But they were just not getting the same value out of these clubs. And with that, I return conduct back to Mr. Tom Jameson.
Thank you so much, Alfred. I know I picked on you a little bit earlier, and here you quick to volunteer to cease. Maybe there'll be some people hang around later to answer questions of all of our leaders. I am so honored and privileged to be in the room with such outstanding leaders as each of our participants and speakers tonight. It is a really awesome experience, and hopefully many of you will refer tonight's meeting, which will be on the Speakers Bureau website on YouTube, and so you'll be able to refer that to the members of your club. And I want to thank you all. And without you, Alfred, this meeting would not have happened. I started with you knowing that if you were here, that would bring some people, others, and I knew we had other great leaders. We maybe would have done it another time, but we would not have done it this time. I go way back. Many of you know I go way back, and I want to say in the old days, many Toastmasters, and I was one of them, had this philosophy, this idea that people are either leaders or speakers. I think tonight we proved that that is not true. That was an inspiration for me to work hard at becoming a better speaker and not just a leader. So I think each of you proved that that is not true, that leaders can be outstanding speakers. Now I want to introduce the most important person in my mind in the room. We had a lot of important people here, but the most important person in the room, as far as I'm concerned, was a division governor, was an area director, and has done some really outstanding things. She was a speaker's chair before I was, and is really her great expertise is special projects. And I want you to hear about a special project she has in mind for June the 5th. Connie Jameson.
Thank you, Tom. Tonight's lineup of speakers was excellent. We have another lineup of speakers that will be excellent in a different way. On June 5th in the afternoon from 1 o'clock till about 1:30, it's a Saturday, we have a lineup of speakers, and I have some of them and I'm gaining even more, who will be presenting for a multicultural event. We will have people sharing about their backgrounds, the countries from which they came, from all around the globe. I think this will be informational and inspirational. So I hope you will all be able to attend and find out about these Toastmasters in our group and widen your horizons by attending multicultural event Saturday, June 5th, 1 o'clock on Zoom, of course.
We expect about 15 to 17, maybe even more speakers giving 5 to 7 minute speeches, and you will know more about the world from those people who are Toastmasters in our district, who will be able to share those experiences with you. As far as that is a Speakers Bureau sponsored event, but we still expect, as I always say, we always meet the first Wednesday of every month, and we are always free, and we are always 7 to 9 or 9:05. Anyway, we right now is room for a person seeking their QS if they've qualified in every other way to do that, or a member of our Speakers Bureau, one of the qualified speakers, if they have presentations they would like to do in the June 2nd meeting. So if you are, let me know, send me an email and give me a call, and we will put together that program for June the 2nd. And with that, I will officially allow us to close. But those of you who wish to hang around for a little bit, I guess that's all up to Sunny. She can shut me down whenever she feels like it. Thank you all for being here, all of you.
Well, Tom, Sunny's off, but she gave me that power, so be careful.
I'm
Be careful.
As soon as I say something that doesn't agree with your politics, Michael and I are in debate club together, so we get to argue back and forth a lot and have fun.
Has Alfred left us?
Yes.
That's a shame. I thought he was going to allow questions.
Time ran out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Michael, we'll take your questions. We'll make up answers for you.
Listen to me, Mr. Osha.
Mr. Michael O, whatever you need, Michael O.
M.O. He was making comment about the new way Toastmasters works. Now I'm just trying to think, what the hell do you call them? The new
pathways.
Who?
Is the pathways are you talking about?
Yeah, pathways. From the few people I've spoken to, have said too complicated. What happened to the, going back to the old way?
No. We'll go back.
What do you mean? No.
It's
Don't
so
you
good.
say no. Explain why no.
Future is now.
It's so good.
Pathways is not easy to follow.
True.
You need a mentor.
But nothing's easy to follow unless you dig into it a little bit. And it's worth it. I'm finding out.
Sybil wants to say something.
Go, Sybil.
Yes, I have a question for Tom. A friend of mine, Eva Wani, I'm talking to her about attending the Speakers Bureau because she does want to go basically into the speaking circuit, and she's the runner-up in the district in the national contest. So would tonight's meeting counts? She attended it.
Yes, that counts. You need 5 meetings to visit 5 meetings, and that would count. In fact, in June, you get 2 chances. As long as you go to both events, we'll count each one.
Okay, now she was of course shown in the list of attendees. So you capture that list and then that's where you go by, correct?
We collect the list of all the people who attended, and then we go from there. And then they also have to have a qualified speaker as their coach at a certain educational level too. Have her call me and we'll talk about it.
Okay, all right. And she, because she's very willing to go and give her presentation about A Promise Worth Keeping, which deals with the Alzheimer's journey of her mom, to other organizations. Thanks, Tom.
Great, Sybil. It looks, who had a question? Somebody raised their hand here. Oh, Anna, are you still here? Or is she saying goodbye? Hi, Roberta.
Hi, Michael. May I answer a question?
Of course.
Well, it's fascinating, Michael Owen. I absolutely agree with you. It's difficult. My club has been around for 32 years, so there's a lot of people in our club that did not want to give up our manuals, but we've had to give up our manuals. What District 100 did, and maybe District 12 has done, is they've asked every club to have a club pathways champion, somebody who's willing to dig deep into pathways and then help the members. I could not have finished my 2 paths since I started on these paths back in July, had it not been for AJ Heron, who literally held my hand every time I had to go up on pathways and figure out what it was I needed to do. So it's been working well for my club. And I highly recommend, because otherwise you start losing members. And we've been around 32 years, and the good news is this last time we have 35 members. We've lost 2 members because of pathways, but now we're on more recruiting because we've only had 9 new members this last year. So it's a struggle, but Michael said it right. It is our future, so we got to learn how to work with it.
Yeah, but it is the problem. The people I speak to who were past tense Toastmasters saying, I don't want to, the change is too abrupt. It's too, there's no phasing into it. It's either this
Michael,
or that.
you can do it to Tom Jameson.
I saw you, Michael.
Tom buys the manuals and just works in like the old style, and he works through the manuals with no problem at all.
Yeah, that's what 2 of our members do as well,
Yeah, but
Michael.
that's not true of everyone. Some people adapt to it quite quickly. Others say it's too much, too quickly, for want of a better word.
I like the idea of a Pathways champion in every club. And maybe if it's hard for a club to do it, maybe the area directors can find someone who could help folks within their area. Kind of like we did with the Pathways guides. Yeah, sometimes we need extra help.
Yeah, and we have that learning lab on Sundays.
One of the reasons I'm not participating as much as I would is the change has been too much for me.
Yeah.
Now that could be because I'm an old fart.
Yeah.
An old.
Yeah, but Michael, you're like us.
Sorry.
We have
Language, Michael.
That may be true, but Frankie has something to say. Frankie?
Go, Frankie.
No, I'm an old fart too. But I found
I like that expression.
if you get into, you have to become friends with your computer, and you get in and you explore, and I just click around and find my way. And there are so many people within the district that you can call on and say, okay, how do I do this? And they will sit down with you one-on-one in a Zoom meeting and lead you through the path. So it's your choice. But if you really want to get the value of Toastmasters, this is one of the ways to do it. And it is our future. So
I do understand, but the change has been so abrupt that it is true. It's just two extremes, and people do not like change. That's the first.
We had a 2-year lead in, Michael.
I don't care if you have a 20-year lead in.
Yeah, it was 2 years that we had to lead into where we are now. But maybe Jose can share with the new trio some of these comments, especially the club champion on Pathways. I like that idea. I know District 12 something similar from a district perspective, and now we can dig deep into the clubs.
Yeah, I think it's worked well. I think, I don't know, maybe Michael Osier knows, I think 50% of our clubs have a Pathways champion in the club now. And then we've got the learning lab on Sundays that.
Well, I think that's exactly how to do that. I think that's.
And then we've got Charlotte Drake on Monday nights to hold our hands, so.
Marilyn, you want to say something?
I was kicking and screaming, and sometimes I still do, Michael Owen.
I do.
But however, in one of my clubs, if somebody has the time and an extra 10 minutes after the meeting, or very close to the meeting, the guest or something, we actually go online with the
Yeah.
computer. And that's why I really like hybrid clubs, because I want to do that. And I think it'd be an easier way when somebody finishes a speech, I'd like to get that immediately in there. And I found that all the computer people have helped me greatly. And I'm actually now starting to say, well, you know, it's okay. I do agree that I don't quite understand this 2-year lead. I think it was, and maybe it was me, that I just wasn't listening to Toastmasters when they started it. I just kicking and screaming still, but I agree it wasn't really put out there that great, but and maybe COVID did that too, but
But it's here now. We have to.
yes,
learn
it's
how to
here
live
now.
with it.
And
It's
actually,
here, yeah.
my presentation management, the program in right now is there's a elective I want to do, and I actually want to do a podcast. And so I know I'm not I'm what, 73 going on 37, but I'd really like to do a podcast in my professional work.
Absolutely.
Nice. That's nice.
I think the bottom line is the same, that we who've been brought up with the old method would like to find somewhere phasing it, easily phasing it into this new method. But right now, it's I was going to say it's compared with, what we were 18 months ago with COVID now and our recovery now. It is so extreme difference. There doesn't appear to be a smooth transition. It's either this is you do it this way, or you now do it the new way. And I have heard people who said, oh, well, I started to join Toastmasters and they changed the way that things were done. And I don't want to know.
And yet here you are, Michael, on Zoom.
Exactly.
Why am I on Zoom?
I have to go, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you
Roberta.
soon.
Thank
you, Roberta. You were
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
for
on Zoom
visiting.
because I support my colleagues, not because I support the program. It's a different thing. And I've got a lot of good friends in Toastmasters. And this, thank you, Case. She put the thumbs up. It for the young ones, I mean that in the nicest way, probably isn't any change. But for us older ones who've been brought up with this method of doing things, suddenly to have this massive change is just too much for some of us, and I'm one of them. And the reason
Chris Collins wanted to say something.
Zoom meetings is because I kind of hope that I may change my mind because of that, but I don't think I will. What are you shaking head for, Michael?
Oh, Chris Collins wants to say something.
Oh,
go ahead, Chris. Unmute.
First of all, Michael.
Yes.
I agree with you. Nobody likes change. But if you actually dig into it, it's just repackaged a lot differently than the traditional system. Traditionally, most people would not do the advanced manuals. With the new system, you're forced to do it. And if you actually go into all the advanced manuals and you compare it, it's really just repackaged because you still got to do your icebreaker. They actually give you more freedom because you do first speech, you do the same speech or a different speech. And then depending on how you pick it, you still got to do a podcast, which was the old manuals. And depending on what path you picked, it coincided with a lot of the old traditional manuals. All they did is repackage something. And the big thing is you're absolutely right. Again to it, it's really not that difficult. It's just different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and argue. It has made me lose my connection with Toastmasters. It is just too much, too obtuse. No, obtuse is the wrong word. But it's not a smooth transition. This is what it was. It's like governors being changed to directors. Okay, I kind of understand that. but again, it's like somebody somewhere has sat there and thought, what can I do to change things? Not what can I do to make things easier? There's a difference. Yes, where we got? Greg.
Michael, if I may say this, and then Greg Scott wants to say something.
Sorry.
This change was not designed for you. It was designed to bring the 25 to 45-year-olds in.
Okay.
That's it didn't need to be, that's the group they're trying to reach and being very successful. It's really not designed for but that's the group that's going to keep Toastmasters going for the next 20 years.
I understand.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah, and if you have a printer, you can print and make your own manuals.
Yeah, well,
that makes it easier for you to.
I can fly
like to.
an aircraft, but do you think I would get into a helicopter? No chance. Think about what I've just said.
Greg?
Yeah, I just want to share this. When I served on the board, we passed our first $1 million+ budget to institute computer programs. Now, working in the fire department, we were changing over from T cards in the dispatch center into electronics and computerized systems, the CAD system. And that took a lot of doing, and working with the contractors to put that in place. I built in the contract for the Riverside County Fire Department. For 2 years, they would have X amount of computer programmers available to us to rewrite programs to simplify it so our dispatchers could take a call, process it through the computer without a bunch of trying to figure out a bunch of nonsense, and get the dispatch out for medical aids, fires, or whatever. Now, at that same time, I suggested to the staff that when we adopt this computer program, that we have staffing written into the computer contract from that company, making available. And thus we were in the middle of starting the Distinguished Club program and the 10 goals, which was a very easy system to share, because we went around with our overhead projectors to the people in the district and presented those classes of the 10 goals and how many members that we had to maintain. Now we've advanced into the greater international series, and there's dinosaurs, and Karen can tell you, I'm one of them, that I have no idea. When I finish my level 1 or 2, I have no idea, not an iota, how to work that computer. You could sit there and do it in front of me, and it's not going to sink in. So, but what I'm saying is that you need to find out who can help you register these in a timely manner, and let's go on with the program. So I am starting over with my different levels. I'm going through them. I have copied down the District 57 description of each program, so I can open my notebook and I can follow it down there. So I'm going on the computer, I can say level 3 for presentation mastery, I have to do these things. And so then I go through those and I check them off as I go, these checklists. And then I call Mark Lucas up and say, Mark, I'm ready to register my level 3. Can you help me do that? And once I get that done, then I notify my vice president of education of that club and say, hey, now you need to go in there and Club Central and get me accredited for it. So I'm just like you, Michael. I feel that we should have had written in programmers to make this system easier and more user-friendly for the dinosaurs, because we're part of Toastmasters just like everybody else. We're not the young dynamos, but in the same respect, George and Michael, I'm challenging you to look at those checklists, go through level 1 and call Karen Lucas and ask her to help you through that step, or somebody that knows how to do it. She can refer you just as easy and help you get through that. And that what is that? That's a win-win, isn't it? It's a win for you and it's a win for the organization as a whole.
Yeah, probably Jose could assign someone from the district. Hi, Jose.
I was just going to say that, Michael, we have a pet, we call it pet team in District 12. And they have a representative for each division that will be happy to take you on and assign somebody to be your mentor and walk you all, every step of the way on every level of your pathways. And
See, I hear you, but it's a bit like me. So I live in a senior community,
yeah,
and the number of people who's got their mic live. Anyway, it's a bit like me trying to solve a lot of the I was about to say inmates then.
Hey, Michael, let me interrupt you for just 1 second to say this. It is a program that will work if we wanted it to work, if we want to make it work. If you want to give it a chance, I guarantee you that it will work for you. But
I'm
then
sure you're right.
But if you don't, then it won't. It really won't. It will just die there.
And that's what worries me, because it's almost like you're indoctrinated by words as opposed to what are the emotions that people feel. And I was going to explain to you that here, I get people phoning me because they know I'm a friendly sort of guy and I'll help them out with computer issues. I cannot teach these people how to program a piece of software. I can only teach them how to use what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not doing that in Toastmasters. We are saying, here's the change, you have to adapt. I'm sorry, but that is how I feel.
Okay.
And I'm proud of being a Toastmasters. Toastmasters has done a lot for me. I've made a lot of good friends. In fact, one of them on my screen is right underneath me, isn't it, Kay? And
well, I think Michael has handed over the control of the meeting to me, and we've already gone over a little bit, about 25 minutes. So
yes,
I'm not sure what we'll accomplish, but I really appreciate everybody being here. It's been a great meeting, and hopefully I'm still going to struggle with pathways too. So, but I will do my best and figure out a way to do
I
something.
do need to make a phone call, if you can believe it. So I am going to take off. So thank you.
Yep.
And Michael Owen, if you feel you need my help, reach out to me. You have my information.
I have people who are willing to help. The situation, I think, deep down is me. I don't want massive change, and I'm not alone. There are
but unfortunately, though, we have it. So if you like to talk, give me a ring and we'll talk.
Love you all, but I'm going to leave because I'm frustrated.
Hey, Tom.
All right.
Good show,
Well,
Tom, thank you very much, Tom, for putting this together.
Oh, it's been
All right.
been a great meeting, great presenters, and thank you all for being here.
Karen,
and we
good
will
to
see
see
you
you.
next month, twice.
Thank you again. Thank you
I think a
again.
panel discussion would be nice.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Take care.
Bye.